Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Warbird Wednesday. My name is Fred Bell. I am the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum, and I am perky today. Greg, my Scaramouche assistant. Oh, I love that one. The Bohemian Rhapsody Queen is getting in there. We're probably going to get copyright struck for that. Thunderbolts and lightning. God, it's all coming back to me. We may not get Warbird Wednesday done today, but we are doing the last of the heavy cargo aircraft. I know Greg is absolutely forlorn on this. We're doing the An-225, the An-225. I'm going to butcher this thing, but the Mriya. I think it's the Dream in Russian or Ukrainian. It is, by any stretch, I saw this airplane in Dallas at one time when it was in the United States, and it was offloading cargo, and it was the most amazing thing I have ever seen. And I'm going to talk about the loss of this airplane, but because it no longer exists, which is incredibly sad. But at the time, this airplane first flew in 1988. It was a product of the Soviet Union, the old Soviet Union, before they broke up. It flew at 530 miles an hour. There is one that was finished, and there's one that's about 70% completed, 60-70%. We'll talk about that. It was originally designed for the Soviet space program. I mean, they had everything from putting the shuttle on top, and then they'd put rocket boosters in the inside of it. It has, Greg, this model is so cool. It's like, hello, Greg, how you doing? I'm the Mriya, the Antonov, the 225. Let's see if it makes it into the video. That was pretty fun. But yes, Fred has lost it. But it has this is a cool model. It actually has a little stair step. Greg has spared no expense. It actually has a little ramp, and you could stick your Soviet rocket in there or whatever else you're going to do, and then you close it up so easily like that, and then it flies away. But you could put a Soviet rocket in it. You could put, I think they were talking about putting, similar to the 747, where you could put one of the Soviet shuttles on top of it. It had a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to throw up a plan view. The trucks, the landing gear in this thing was absolutely enormous, and it was like everything else the Russians were doing then. Now, the thing about the Soviets was the Soviets were not afraid to do all kinds, and Greg can throw up examples, but I'm thinking, the name escapes me, but that Caspian Sea monster hydrofoil thing that they built, the Soviets went out and tried all kinds of different designs, and this was no different. But what ended up happening is it fell victim to the collapse of the Soviet Union, and in the 1990s it was mothballed. Now, one of the things that went on when it was mothballed is that there was a big push in heavy lift. And you think about all of any lift this size, the anything to fly this size is what? Is military. You cannot go and find, you can say, well, Fred, you have 747s. This thing is so big that when it got hungry, it ate 747s. It is that big. The 747 cargo carriers were nowhere near as big as this, nor did they have the lift capacity of this thing. I want to say that the lift capacity on this aircraft, or the takeoff weight, was 640 tons. It is the largest and heaviest aircraft that was ever built, and it has the biggest wingspan. When it was originally conceived It was a derivative of the An-124, so it was basically jumboing it up, and it was a replacement for, again, I apologize, I'm going to do this name as best I can, for the Mriya, the VM-T. So, and the Russians were, again, going for what they always did during the Soviet Union, Mother Russia. They were trying to have the most exotic and the biggest airplane that they could find. But what ended up happening was there was a market for this. There's only one. And the airplane was relatively fast at 530 miles an hour. Now think about that. I said the takeoff weight is 640 tons. You've got that much stuff going through the air at 500 miles an hour. Absolutely amazing. So it came back and it flew basically under a series of airlines for that time. And it did basically contract heavy lift, which is where I saw it when it was in Texas. It was, I think, offloading oil rig equipment is what I think they were offloading at the time, where they were picking it up. But seeing this, even from a distance, was just absolutely staggering. But today, this brings me to my salute. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on its little stem there and not break it. This is a cool model. This is one I'm going to I'm going to fly it around the office and load like little toy pickup trucks and stuff and fly around. I think that's kind of fun. I got so excited today, Greg, that what did I do? I forgot to take off this finely coiffed headgear that you have me doing. Normally, you know, you've been having me in like a hippo head and an alien thing and this other stuff, but you've been going sedate the last two times. Today, you have me, as this is like a ship, you have me the captain of the ship. Greg, thank you so much. I'm going to take this off. My little buddy, Greg, there we go. And I'm going to toss that nice catch by the Kenny. So today, the salute is going to be, I know we're having a lot of problems with the Russians, and there's a lot of challenges, but I think we need to salute the dreamers and the people that think about something and then go to the effort to make it happen. This aircraft, by all purposes, shouldn't work. As I said, the takeoff weight is 640 tons. And if you go back and you start dialing the clock back from where we were to the Wright brothers, and if you could have a time machine and go back to the Wright brothers and say, think about what your invention is going to lead to, which is something like this, and that the designers had the audacity to come up with something like this and make it work. This airplane it's gone now. We're going to talk about that, but it really is a functional airplane. It actually works really well. It was amazing. So for all of you engineers out there, no matter where you are, if you dare to dream, dream big. Dream like a SpaceX or an An-225. Dream big. And today, before I take the cap off, I'm getting really excited about this. It is, oh, you've gone back. You are. I don't look at these, and I literally just looked at this one. This is Always Ask for Avery, Stand with Ukraine, Slava Ukraine, I think I'm saying that right. Putin Punch. It's got a nice shot of a Ukrainian mitt giving good old Putin a punch. And so let's hear it for the Ukrainians. And actually, this aircraft, the Soviet Union broke up, but a lot of these aircraft and these things were built in Ukraine. So Ukraine, Putin Punch. Let's see what we get out of this. All right. Fizz. It did fizz. Now this, let's see. A portion of the proceeds will be donated to the Ukrainian Red Cross Society. Good job, Greg. I'm impressed. You actually stepped up with this. It does have a California redemption certificate. That's punch. It tastes exactly like punch, like you'd have in a little punch bowl. It's not bad. I'll have another sip, especially for Ukraine. Go Ukraine. It's interesting. There's no calorie information or anything on that. Who cares? Just drink it. All right. It's probably the Russians got to it. It's probably been poisoned. I have 15 minutes to live. But so the aircraft, this airplane was completely functional. It worked well. Engineering was sound. It flew for the airlines. It flew for 2 different types of derivative airlines. And then disaster struck. And that was the aircraft was parked at the Hostomel airport in Ukraine. The Russians decided that they were going to do their special military operation. And in the course of that conflict at that Hostomel, because what the Russians were trying to do is bring in, airlift a bunch of troops in, and then they were going to, they actually had in the air 6 or 7 transports with like 1,000 men each in them that were actually flying from this place in Russia, and they were going to land because this was in order to handle this thing, this was a very heavy runway and it could handle those big Russian transports. What ended up happening is Ukrainians put up such a fight that they shot down a bunch of the helicopters that were coming in, and they basically overwhelmed the Russian paratroopers that were there, and it wasn't safe to land. So those carriers actually went back and landed in Belarus. So that's the backdrop of what happened. Now, this aircraft, there were 2 heated hangars on the Hostomel airport, and this aircraft was parked in one of them. At some point, this airplane got hit by artillery fire and started to burn. So the aircraft was destroyed, and I actually watched the video at the time, and it appeared that it was burning, but you kind of hope against hope that it wasn't gone. But once the Ukrainians took control of the airfield, it was clear that the airplane was destroyed. Now, I said there is a companion airplane that's about 60 to 70% complete. And the Ukrainians have talked about rebuilding the aircraft and have said that they are going to rebuild the airplane. Both Antonov and the Ukrainians have said they're going to rebuild the airplane. Guess what it's going to cost to build a single one of these? $500 million, which is not cheap. If it were me, I would take it out of the frozen assets of the Russians and make them pay for it. I'm sure that's going to get somebody mad at me about something, but the loss of this aircraft and the engineering on this aircraft is equivalent to the loss of the Amber Room or something in World War II, where you have these, this was one of one. There are no more. And you could say, well, that's a work of art or whatever. This is an engineering kind of one of one. And the fact that this airplane was destroyed, that the 2 sides couldn't figure out how to not destroy the airplane or call a truce or something and not destroy the aircraft, it's criminal. It really is. And normally, Greg's looking at me, you don't normally get this passionate, but losing a one-of-one airplane and knowing the difficulty of ever fixing this, I've read a number of conversations about that they may be able to take parts from the aircraft that was burned or damaged, because there are parts of it that are left, and actually use it on the new airplane. But at some point, hopefully, the economic case can be made when this war is over. And believe me, the war in Ukraine and the loss of life, it needs to end. It's got to end. And we can get back to peaceful pursuits and peaceful things of really moving the ball, and this airplane moved the ball. So let's hope that happens. I don't normally jump off on my soapbox like that, but this is it was really criminal. There are some conversations around the fact that there were people that actually disabled the airplane, that it couldn't get out of there, because some people were saying you knew it was coming and why wasn't the airplane moved. And there have been recriminations back and forth that the aircraft was disabled. If that's true, then that even leads more so that if you disabled the airplane somebody should have figured out how to not have it be destroyed. So let's hope that we can find I'm willing to pony up, $100. What do you think, Greg? And we'll raise the $500 million to rebuild the airplane. Now, if you want to be the cool kid on the block, you need this puzzle. This actually has, I don't ever think we featured this one. This is military helicopters from France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Russia, Soviet Union, United Kingdom, and the United States. Now, there are a number of Russian helicopters that would, and I see the connection, excellent connection, that would have fit in the 225. So very good. Now this is a fairly simple build. You could build this and laminate it, put it in a picture frame, be the only one on your block to have a laminated helicopters of the world picture on your wall. Greg, I know you want one of those. So jump out, click on that link. Jason will happily send this to you. So but today, if you came across us, go ahead and give us a like if you like what we talked about. Give us a subscription. We can use that, and forward us to your friends. If they like long-form aviation videos, that's all we do. The next one we're starting on are aerial refuelers. Yippee! And we're getting ready to start on that. Greg is really excited about that. So we're going to do aero refuelers after this. We cannot do everything. We're in the Pacific hangar in front of the newly rebuilt Bob Hope stage exhibit. And Bob, back in the heyday in Palm Springs, actually had been in the museum a few times. And we would love to be able to get you to give us a donation. So click on that link, because we can't do things like this if we don't have your cash. So send us a few bucks. We would certainly appreciate it. If you come across us on Facebook, give us a like, give us a comment. Again, we appreciate your comments. We'll comment back. My name is Fred Bell. I am the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum. Have a great day.